Insulin is a naturally secreted hormone that the body cannot function correctly without. When insulin is depleted, impaired, or destroyed within the body, it cannot regulate the amount of glucose in the blood. The body gains a significant proportion of its energy from glucose. Insulin is a polypeptide hormone consisting of two peptides chains that are connected by disulfide bonds. It is synthesized as a precursor, proinsulin, that undergoes proteolytic cleavage to form insulin and C-peptide, both of which are secreted by the beta cells of the pancreas. You might as well note here that because insulin undergoes significant hepatic and renal extraction, plasma insulin levels may not accurately reflect insulin production. Thus, measurement of C-peptide provides a better index of insulin levels. Insulin secretion is regulated by blood glucose levels, certain amino acids, other hormones, and autonomic mediators. Secretion is most often triggered by increased blood glucose, which is taken up by the glucose transporter into the beta cells of the pancreas. There, it is phosphorylated by glucokinase, which acts as a glucose sensor. The products of glucose metabolism enter the mitochondrial respiratory chain and generate adenosine triphosphate, ATP. The rise in ATP levels causes a blockade of potassium channels, leading to membrane depolarization and an influx of calcium. The increase in intracellular calcium causes pulsatile insulin exocytosis. Mechanism of action include exogenous insulin, which is administered to replace absent insulin secretion in type 1 diabetes or to supplement insufficient insulin secretion in type 2 diabetes. So, what are the possible pharmacokinetics and fate of insulin? Well, human insulin is produced by recombinant DNA technology using strains of Escherichia coli or yeast that are genetically altered to contain the gene for human insulin. Modification of the amino acid sequence of human insulin produces insulins with different pharmacokinetic properties. Insulin preparations vary primarily in their onset and duration of activity. For example, insulin lispro, aspart, and glucosine have a faster onset and shorter duration of action than regular insulin because they do not aggregate or form complexes. Dose, injection site, blood supply, temperature, and physical activity can also affect the onset and duration of various insulin preparations. Because insulin is a polypeptide, it is degraded in the gastrointestinal tract if taken orally. Therefore, it is generally administered by subcutaneous injection. You must remember that in a hyperglycemic emergency, regular insulin is administered intravenously (IV). Continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion, also called the insulin pump, is another method of insulin delivery. This method of administration may be more convenient for some patients, eliminating multiple daily injections of insulin. The pump is programmed to deliver a basal rate of insulin. In addition, it allows the patient to deliver a bolus of insulin to cover mealtime carbohydrate intake and compensate for high blood glucose. Adverse reactions to insulin include hypoglycemia, which is the most serious and common adverse reaction to insulin. Other adverse reactions include weight gain, local injection site reactions, and lipodystrophy. Lipodystrophy can be minimized by rotation of injection sites. Diabetics with renal insufficiency may require a decrease in insulin dose. So, this concludes our discussion on insulin, so stick around for further discussion on insulin preparations.